Call the meeting to order. You can all rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do a roll call.
Okay, Wondergem.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Steffes.
Here.
Gardine. Here. Palmer. Here. DeHaan.
Here.
Hybor.
Here.
Full house.
Fantastic, thank you. All right. There's no one here, and so I assume we have no public comment. I was going to read the statement. What's that?
Just me and my
Just you guys. Not that I'm discounting your attendance.
We would prefer jokes.
Yes.
If you
Yeah,
prefer,
very
if you put together a routine or something.
All right. Next on the approval of the agenda, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, moving on to board member reports. Let's start with Mr. Steffes.
I have nothing,
All right.
so I'm very sorry.
That's nothing to be sorry about. It's this time of year, right? How about you, Kim?
Oh, it's raining.
Same.
There's
Yeah.
got to be rainbows out there because it is sunny too.
Yeah, my report is the weather report. If you didn't see the storm come in last night, that was quite something. There's another one coming in. Nothing really, other than I walked into Staples today and they already had back to school supplies out. And I was like, hey y'all, give the
It's a little
teachers
early.
second. Give them a second. It was a little too quick. It's still middle of June, so. No, my only reflection was this week I was doing a lot of MTSS research and work for my company and just appreciate what we do here. So good on that. I was like, I've heard this, I've seen this feels really good. So, and it's a pleasure to see it in action every day here.
Good. Wonderful, thank you. Amy?
Pickleball courts are up and running.
And
All y'all pickle people.
and busy,
I
yeah.
know. I'm very busy.
I had a friend from 2 hours away make me drive her over there in the dark.
They're
to see
beautiful
them.
courts.
'Cause
They're beautiful.
She's so in on
And they
pickleball scene.
redid the horseshoe stuff. It's just, it's lovely. It looks really nice and people
Well
are
done.
happy and they're
Do you
outside.
register for the courts?
I believe you probably should.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I
They're
wasn't sure
so
if they do
busy.
that.
They're so busy,
Yeah.
but
Okay, yeah.
sometimes you'll
I don't
find
know
them
if
open. I mean, you know.
Pickleball's
you could-
generally really
if
fun
you're into
community.
gambling,
You just go up and
You're
pick
into
up games.
gambling?
Yeah.
like gamble that it's going to be open,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Not like gambling on the pickleball.
I just
courts,
wondered if
but
the community ad was taking reservations for the courts.
they are.
Oh, they are? They do?
I do believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Also, really cool to see all of the. Are you going to? Also, it's fun to see all the sports kids at it already. We have some amazing athletes, so that's it. That's it.
Bob?
Nothing.
Barb?
No report.
Just, this is probably getting old now, but just on our graduation ceremony, like my family obviously was there again, and they just commented how much they appreciated ours compared to like Forest Hills, where ours was, what, it was an hour and 3 minutes or 7 minutes this year, and Forest Hills ones have been like over 2 hours, 2.5 hours, just how much they appreciated our speed of our graduation and in and out and that compared to some of the other schools that they go to. So that was one. And then a lot of, Roger, you sent me a picture from the football field and we put it on the Football Booster webpage and a lot of comments on how nice that looked and people are excited for it. So that's it.
Cool.
So now we're gonna win the state?
It's all about the double.
You build it, they will come, right? Something like that.
Well, I mean, Vex is a testament. If you build it,
That's
they will
right.
come.
No, that's
We're
right,
champions.
absolutely. So, yeah.
That's it.
Good. All right. Well, thank you. So thank you for covering for me a couple weeks ago. I appreciate it. It was a pretty busy meeting, right? So, yeah. Yeah, so I appreciate
Spent a lot of
that.
money that day.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's all our roll call votes there on there. And then, yes, the Robo-Dogs, right, have been cleaning up. I'm sure Roger's going to speak a little bit about that as I see the trophy here, so that's pretty cool to see. We actually have a group of about, I want to say it's about 10 to a dozen musicians and students that are about to leave here this coming Friday. My son's one of them for a trip to Europe for, I think it's 10 and 12 days, something like that.
Are you going?
No. I wanted to. I asked the rest of the parents, and none of their parents were going. So we're like, okay, I don't want to necessarily like trance around. I'd love to trance around Europe. Don't get me wrong, but
I just
didn't want to be the only parent there kind of following them. But there's a group of like 250, 300 kids going. And Mr. Huber
And they
is.
come by invitation only, which
Yes.
is very
Very
cool.
cool.
Yes, yeah. So Mr. Huber is one of the musician or the teachers or whatever you want to say that's going with the group. Yeah, and so I don't know if they have enough chaperones to be honest with that many kids, but I was just
50
thinking.
from Grandville?
No, just total
Okay,
across the
around-
state.
okay.
Yeah, it's called Musicians Abroad from Michigan. So, and I think they do it for other states too. So it's kind of a cool deal. They have a choir and then they have the band that goes along. Yeah.
I feel like
that's
with
cool.
sports, you get a lot of like, all those kids come from all these different groups from all over the state. So it's such a cool thing to see kids who have been invited from east and north and like all over. And it's really a cool travel experience for those kids who stick
Yeah.
out.
Like Germany or?
So they fly into London, I believe it is, and then they, because I had to get the currency, so you got to get British pounds, a bunch of euros, so they're going through France, then Switzerland and Germany, because I had to get Swiss francs and, fun stuff. Yeah, so it was fun. So it'll be fun for them.
That'll
So
be
I
great.
look forward to hearing all the stories from that type of thing. So, yeah, so that's coming up. So we wish those kids luck on that's a big trip for them. So, and then that's really about all I have. And it's fun. Been going to graduation parties. I know I missed your sons.
It's okay.
But it's fun going to all the graduation parties at this time of year and celebrating with all the grads and with all their future ahead of them. So it's a lot of cool, fun stuff going on. So. And then sports, as Brent and I were just talking about, football starting 2 days or whatever. The
Camp tonight.
Camp tonight. So it's already started. We're back to school before you know it.
Is that pretty
I
normal
won't say
for
that too loud.
other districts then? It's right after school.
Yeah.
Yep, they're allowed 2 weeks. and
No
stuff.
rest.
They have
No
2 dead
rest.
weeks and that's
Yep.
Okay, and they're back
So that's all I have.
work hard.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Sure. So I'll just add on to some of those things. First of all, congrats to sports and clubs. Wrapped up the year, had a great year overall. And, as you can see with this trophy, congratulations to the RoboDogs, AIVEX world champions, not state, not national, but world champions. We met with Doug and Mike today, and chime in, guys, if there's anything you think you should add. But it was really interesting. He talked about the development of the team they had, the development of the things that they had to do to get to that level, and talked about the pressure and how when the pressure's on, you got to perform at, you got to develop the things when the pressure's on. Your time, your time restricted. At the same time, there were college teams they competed against that were in this, and of course people from all over the country. There were several parts of this where our RoboDogs were 1, 2, and 3 in the world during the competition, and eventually, we got to a world champion. But just kudos to everything and everybody that's a part of that. The volunteers, the time. It's amazing what kids do. Doug today, and I couldn't understand half of it, but Doug was explaining what their robot was able to do, the different things, and it was just off the charts. I just couldn't believe how high level our kids are, and they don't do anything for our kids. They say, yeah, you got to create this, you got to figure this out, and then, they'll sit back and let them go to work. So just amazing, and I think a great testament to, this is truly a school and community-based program, and it's just off the charts. So
The
anyway.
article was really good too, that was in the school
Yeah.
news or whatever.
Right.
Really good.
Right, so
It was cool. They said coming out of the round robin, one of the teams that played a team from the University of Texas, and the person who was leading that team is a PhD candidate in robotics and engineering.
Oh my gosh.
And they whipped him, and then when they went to lunch, the team from Saudi Arabia stole their batteries, but they had extra batteries, and then they beat Saudi Arabia.
That's
So
hilarious.
they were playing teams from
You stole the batteries. Is that part of the game?
teams from
That is not part of the
legitimately all over the world. round robin, each team played 10 matches. One team was 10-0, one team was 9-1, and one team was 8-2. And if somebody wanted to win, they had to play through, they had to beat all the Grandville teams. Our top two Grandville teams played each other in the finals.
Oh,
Not only are we
amazing.
world champions, but we're also
Second place.
runner-ups.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
Which is really cool.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
just a huge,
Were they surprised that was a high school team?
I'm
Did you
not
think?
sure, I would assume that would be their reaction.
Yeah,
right?
just wondered if
But,
anyone said anything.
Yeah, it's just really cool to hear Doug say to the three teams, like, if you want to do this, how do you want to do it? And they described how they wanted to do it, and they said, all right, let's run with it.
Wow.
And it was really cool.
yeah,
Another cool thing about our program too is the kids build the entire
yes.
Yeah.
robots
Yes,
for all their programs.
absolutely.
And there's a lot of programs out there that the students might provide design points, but they actually pay engineers and die makers
That's
to
cheating.
make different parts, and our students make the entire thing.
No, you will hear
top to
people say,
bottom.
I'm driving this company's car, or I'm driving, or
Right.
this robot, I'm driving this company's,
Mhm.
and that does not happen.
Yeah, they can order kits and send in their schematics and have it delivered to them, sometimes built already. And our kids are doing the whole thing. Sometimes they're redoing it in between matches.
Yeah,
You know, it's amazing to watch them in the pits. When something doesn't work or something falls apart, they just go back or they see something cool, and they're like, we gotta beat these guys. It's just like an Indy 500, they're all in there cranking the gears and getting it all ready, yeah.
yeah, it's cool stuff. So anyway, kudos to them. Lots of,
Oh, sorry, I just
No,
want,
go
do you
ahead.
think our facility has helped them to gain some of that
I
higher?
think our facility is allowing our kids to do much more than they have. And I think in the future, we'll take it to new heights without question. There's a lot of things that they were never able to do in that small facility or in a high school gym that they can now do. Battle bots are also doing that now. If you haven't seen that, you gotta see that. That's pretty awesome. And of course, drones, all the drone stuff that's going on. So a lot of cool, really cool stuff. So
You
yes.
know, just real quick, watching where this was when I got on the board, and we were, from a state level, we were one of the first that really got a program going. And then it fell into a clicky time where we almost disbanded it. And then Doug came along. So I know Doug has a tendency to rub people the wrong way at times, but his heart and his soul
Yeah.
is into the growth and basically pocketbook is a big thing
I
with
mean,
him
it
too.
helped to build
But
and support.
his leadership, I think, is core
Yeah.
to sustaining the way we have for so long. I mean,
Right.
it's
Without question.
it's
him,
selfless
wife,
for him and his wife.
volunteers,
sure.
his wife, yeah.
Absolutely.
Just an amazing program. I've never seen anything like it. I said that when I got here. I went with them to Lansing, I remember, and just listened to our kids, and then looked at all, was able to observe everything over that year, and I was just like, I've never seen anything like this. It's just, it's incredible. So, yeah, great program. Kudos to them.
And this is the trophy then?
Yeah, that's the trophy. It's kind of heavy. Yeah, it's kind of heavy. I asked him if I could bring it here and,
Yeah, I love it.
so
Show
I
it.
could show you guys and stuff, but yep. Promised him I wouldn't lose it, so I won't go for a joyride after this with it or anything, don't worry. So, also, as you mentioned, lots of camps, community ed activities, a lot of things out there for kids and adults. Man, my wife is she's water aerobics, pickleball, all those things, and she goes, man, there are a lot of adults that do activities here, aren't there? And I, yep, there sure are, and of course the things our kids are doing. So just a lot of great activities, and hopefully the heat stays down a little bit this week for our kids. So anyway, great stuff. We're gearing up for amazing next year, looking forward to it, and we've already started. We're in the works with a lot of things, and just looking forward to another great year.
Sure.
We'll exhale a little bit, but looking forward to a great year.
So the heat, is kind of an issue, and public health has put out an announcement and warning for people to be aware of heat exhaustion and heat
Yep.
So I'm just wondering, do you think our community ed is watching too?
Yeah,
as they
frequent
have-
water breaks,
Okay.
frequent breaks in general.
Okay. They see getting in
We
the
watch,
shade is
we
really-
watch and, see what, what is the activity? What are the recommendations for time? Where should you have it? Shouldn't you have it? All those
Okay.
things. Yep.
'Cause I do have a handout if you want to have it.
Sure.
We also, but Barb, we also have, I think what's great too is that we also have food available for,
Yes.
so we have nutrition things addressed.
So they're
and
not
they can
starving
come
and,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Dehydrated, I
we
guess is
definitely
the other
take
piece,
care-
I think sometimes.
Taking care of our
especially-
kids.
Yeah, with the wind, you don't even realize sometimes that you're sweating.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
That's it.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. On to, where are we at? Old business, any old business?
No old business.
All right. Consent action agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
We all want it.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. On to regular action agenda. It is apologize about that. First item is the approval of the superintendent's contract.
Second to last page.
Yeah,
Last page.
thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the contracts of Superintendent Roger Barrett for the 2024-2025 school year for his extension during the last meeting. This contract extends through June 30th of 2027. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All right. Background. You speak, those supposed to speak in the background or not?
Yeah, well, last time you approved my evaluation. I thought that process was great. And then with that comes the extension. And just to be sure, we need to approve this as well.
Mhm.
So there might have been a little confusion last time whether you were approving my contract or not. And I think because there were people gone, it made more sense to bring it back and give you guys some time to look at it and then, then have it on the agenda today, so.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions or any concerns? I know Bob had reached out to John and got a few typos fixed, so appreciate being on top of that. All right. Any other discussion on it?
Thanks for doing what you do. You
Thank
take
you.
the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Take the good.
Very well, I would say.
Thank you. We have a great team and we have a great board. You guys really do make it enjoyable. Even when it's tough, you still make it, we're a team and you do a great job of that and I just really appreciate that.
All right, well, thank you. So, should we do a roll call on this one? Let's do a roll call.
Okay. Klein?
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. Okay, Stuffus?
Yes.
Cardine?
Why, sure.
Dahan?
Yes.
Palmer? Yes? With an exclamation point. Wonder Jim?
Yes.
Okay, Highborn?
Yes. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Excited to have you on for the next couple of years for sure. So,
Appreciate it.
yeah. All right, discussions and reports, spring 2024 elementary math data review.
Yeah. So, I mentioned last time that we're excited to start pulling some of the spring data, so I just wanted to start with elementary math. It was one of the focus areas that we had with a couple of our grants. Gave teachers and students a few new programs. We've done some additional training. The improvement is exciting to see. So I just wanted to start with a big picture. This is our NWEA MAP district average for second grade. So we started with, we approved Reflex and Frax as a program. That's one of the things coming out of Envisions that our math team said we're just struggling with automaticity, basic, fast. And so that starts in second grade. So starting with the second grade average, you'll see in the fall of 23, we started lower than the other years and we finished, it's only 1 point higher by average. Now that's the entire second grade district average starting. But it increases as we go and that's what we're excited about. A big jump again in third grade and again starting the fall behind
as a district average where we were the last couple of years, and then finishing well ahead. We see it again in fourth grade, not quite as big a jump in fourth grade, but as an average, still pretty good. Again, starting a few points behind, finishing a few points ahead. And then fifth grade, same, we had dipped the last couple of years in fifth grade. What's interesting about the green, lime green in the spring of 2021, if you remember, that was the year we had about 20% of our kids on virtual, and we still tested all of our kids. And we didn't run any statistical analysis, but the feeling was that the kids who took the test at home did a lot better than, than maybe they would have had they been in. And so that spring data score, we always put a little asterisk on in that year. And you see that again in sixth grade. But again, jumping back up, we knew there was a dip the last couple of years from COVID. And
Scott,
our teachers.
real quick,
Yeah.
when did we stop wearing masks? When did kids stop wearing masks? Was it the end of the 21, 22 school
It would
year?
have been spring of 21.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, 2021.
Just want to keep things relative there.
Yeah, and all of that, we knew that the down from COVID wasn't it wasn't a spike, right? There was kind of a slide that took a while.
Right.
But also one of the things we were really proud of from COVID was that in a lot of our data scores, we stayed still. And so while everybody else was dropping, it's kind of like our enrollment staying flat as a gain, and it really was kind of swimming against that tide. But so I just wanted to highlight a couple of, and I'm gonna draw this in a little bit. So this is Central Elementary, and what you see on the left, each is a grade. So you see grade 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Central Elementary, which we know is a high performer since they were a focus school. Remember, they did that incredible turnaround. But the top score, the blue one on the left in the circle, the blue one is growth. The percentage of kids who made the expected growth. And I apologize, I think I corrected the next one. But when you look, third grade, 95%. That's like one kid who didn't make a year plus growth.
Wow.
Grade 5 is 94, grade 6 is 93, grade 4 is 93. I mean, just incredible, incredible growth. And then the achievement, the one beneath it, most of them are green because they're high. That's like a norm average. So if you look at what's especially incredible, sixth grade, for example, the class average is in the 81st percentile nationwide, which is incredible. The lowest of all of them is third at 67th percentile average. Just really, really incredible. And then when you take a look at, now that growth was in the winter. The way it jumps up when you look at the achievement in spring, so that you follow that arrow in third grade, 96th percentile average for third grade for what they were able to do. And when you take a look there, that breakdown are the number of kids who are, the green is 61st to 80th percentile. So in that class, only 16% of kids are below that 16th percentile, and that's incredible. And they're even at the lowest would be at the 41st, which is almost at grade level, 100%. Absolutely incredible. Sixth grade, we know sixth grade at Central is Lori Heiss. She's incredible. But when you take a look at in the winter, 81st percentile up to the 93rd percentile. And that blue bar is especially impressive on the achievement because those are the highest of the high kids, right? They're plus 80 percentile. And so they are not only getting kids at grade level, but they're achieving at super high grade levels. Century Park, same thing, a couple of things to highlight. Grades 2, 3, and 4, we take a look at those growth numbers on top. 86, 88, and 93rd. Percentile, and then the achievement numbers are below that from winter to spring. Cummings, same thing, we're seeing this, and remember what our math team targeted as a strategy were those basic facts.
Yeah.
And what they were saying is, we know this, right? We need the foundation, we need to learn our basic facts before we can do more complex skills, and it really just bumped everybody up. Again, out at Cummings, grades 2, 3, and 4, in the high 80s, up to grade 4, 93rd percentile of growth. Hitting that. East. Now, East was one of the first ones that piloted the program. And we also know that they're our lowest SES building, and typically scores will follow that, and their growth was just tremendous when you take a look at their growth and achievement. 3rd grade at East Elementary, their growth 91st percentile, grade 4, 90th, grade 6, 97 percentile in terms of growth. And this is, remember, this is NWEA. We've been doing NWEA for a long time. And that average growth score, when we first started, Kim will remember this, when we first started with some NWEA and really looking at the percentage of our kids who were making a year's growth as targeted, we'd be lucky if we were between 30 and 40%.
Oh, my word.
And teachers struggled with that. And as we've raised the bar, they've really jumped up to it. Grandville, again, those lower grades, we see 94th percentile in 2nd grade, 85th in terms of growth, and then 94th in grade 4 again. And then grade 4, I just wanted to highlight the achievement. Went from a 60th percentile up to 81st percentile, a 20% jump. And what I love about that, the color underneath there, you see in the 81st percentile, 5% still in the red. So those are our really at-risk kids that we're looking at tier 3, potentially special ed if they're not achieving. But it went from 12% in 4th grade down to 5. 12% in that next group up down to 9%. And then yellow, green, and blue continue to grow. And when you take a look at the size of the blue, so we're not only reducing, what I love about that graph is we're not only reducing our kids who are at tier 3, but our high achievers are expanding. South Elementary, again, middle grades, 3, 4, and 5 in the 90th percentile for growth. At grade 5, we're going to miss John Barton at South Elementary when he retires. You can always count on John for good math scores.
Absolutely.
98th percentile, and it's certainly heartwarming to see him come back and have a great last year.
Yeah, sure.
But again, highlighting grade 5, we know that. Looking at that achievement on the bottom again, starting with 10% red, down to 2%. 22% orange, down to 16%. 27% in the highest, up to 55%. So it's exciting.
Do you think moving into a new building is going to impact improvements then?
Yes.
In a positive way?
Yeah, I think it's going to take
Okay.
another step.
Okay.
And I think what I'm super excited about is, again, building these foundations, coming out of COVID, we've kind of set it, since our Envision's adoption, the idea of basic skills and math fluency and what that means. And we've tried some different things, but being able to do this, have this foundation for them in 5th and 6th grade with fidelity across the district is going to allow them to get to those higher skills.
That's why I was just
West
sitting here thinking.
Elementary, 6th grade, for example,
Huh.
Julie Parrish was one who, teaching the 6th grade at math, kind of talked about that this year, being able to do more with a problem-based approach, right? Being able to do some of those higher level skills because kids aren't using the cognitive load to try to figure out the basic math.
Well, I think you can see the power of community there. The power of community
Oh, yeah.
in those scores. We traditionally have struggles once kids get into 5th,
100%.
6th, 7th, 8th. There's a lot
This is
more
exactly-
play
yep,
cognitively than doing your homework and learning your, we all know.
Yeah.
Those are the hard years.
I love that.
But
Love it.
this school in particular has that community that we're bringing to the intermediate that I'm so excited to see.
Which
that impact forward, and then having the teachers being able to plan together and share best practices together, because it's hard being across the district. I'm
And
really
as we were
excited.
looking at those, you would notice that it was more typical to see that growth in those second, third, fourth.
Yep.
Got to the fifth, sixth, all kinds of learning chemistry in these brains is happening, right? We know this, but like the entire concept of Montessori is that we go in these waves. And so to see the cool wave of the fifth, sixth grade and how this is our model going into fifth, sixth grade, and look who's doing great is our fifth, sixth grade. I just am so excited about that building. Yeah,
We are
it's
too.
gonna be
It's
great.
great.
We are too. And again,
Fantastic.
sixth grade, right? This is achievement from winter to spring, 44% to 64%. You see a drop in that red number, but look at the drop from orange.
Yeah.
Is that a 37% down to 14%?
Awesome.
Continues to close in that gap.
Moving kids, and those are those bubble kids, right? That we couldn't. Now, what's interesting, we're not going to see as dramatic growth, but same thing with East, right? What East found when they first started really focusing on this was that this was one element of math that was really holding their kids back. So they were able to really find something and see some dramatic growth quickly. And I give our teachers on our math team all the credit. They've done a great job, and we think we can continue to build that up. So as some other data pieces come in, I'll be excited to share that too. We'll pull together some ELA pieces. I'm the first to recognize this is one snapshot, but we want to hold it up and celebrate with ELA. We'll bring in MAP and Acadians dibbles and kind of put together a snapshot. That's why those things aren't quite ready yet. But we've seen some growth there too. Teachers that have really invested in the base practice of a lot of the URC stuff that we know we saw at Central when they started kicking it off. I'll be able to share some really exciting literacy pieces that we've seen with kids.
I just wonder how we share this with the community, this great news. Is there a
It's a
way,
good question,
does it
Laura.
go in the newsletter? Is there something special? Like I just love, I know that might be too confusing for some, but just to really show
Yeah.
during these really hard times of, COVID and all, that we've continued to see these wonderful.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. Let me work on that, because I
Yeah.
agree.
Some
you know
way.
me, I can talk about this for hours.
I
right? We can
know.
go down a rabbit hole and dig into all this stuff, but we want to make it understandable
Right.
in a way that is not bland or.
It just seems like such a huge achievement
Yeah.
that
It
shouldn't
really
go
is.
shouldn't go
Absolutely.
unnoticed or.
Yeah, and I started trying to pull, started trying to pull MSTEP scores too, because we have some preliminary MSTEP scores, but it's not enough yet,
Okay.
because I want to see what that does.
What's really cool about these too is this is a transparent, like, showing the truth about the gap and where students are in a range.
Where they start.
I know you modestly showed those scores at the beginning with Central, and all those bar graphs you saw, there wasn't a single bar graph on there. I jumped on the norm scores real quick and checked. There wasn't a single one from the beginning of the year to the end of the year that was actually below the national average. Almost every single one was 10 points above the national average already. So our students are coming in a really great place and then going further.
Yeah.
Which is quite amazing. And you could stop there and pat yourself on the back and be like, woohoo, woohoo. But we didn't. This is taking it the next step further and going, we're going to keep raising it, and then we're going to loop back to those kids who are struggling and making sure we pull them forward. This is really exciting evidence.
It is.
When you look at, again, I'm just gonna keep playing with COVID, because COVID has been a factor with our learning, our students' learning. And I believe we're out of the dark forest, just like Wizard of Oz. We're heading to the Emerald City, and parents are back. So you've got that engagement. It's obvious from this, because you can't do it alone. And staff must not feel as stressed. I mean, other than the fact that there are some behavioral issues that have lasted too long in the schools, especially elementary. You're very much aware of this. So from that perspective, it's nice to see return to normalcy from my view. So I appreciate that.
I know they talked about, celebrating with the community of the students. Is there a way to celebrate with the community of the teachers that put in the extra work to make that? Is there a way you can include that?
Yes,
Whatever you
and
come up with?
great question and great point, because we do need to celebrate
Yeah.
these teachers. I mean, these teachers worked hard, they worked really hard for a couple of years, and some of them are still tired. They're still catching their breath from all of that. A couple of ways. Number one, some of them I call individually. Just to say, hey, I need you to know we're digging into some data and this is amazing. And then we make sure they celebrate it at the building level
good.
as well.
Okay.
that
Our
they're
principals
kind
are
of
very
celebrating
good at
that
that.
together,
That's
and
awesome.
we make sure principals are aware of those pieces. But I absolutely, we need to get something out to our.
I just feel like-
I think that maybe like
we could do a little, some kind of report. We
Yeah.
could put some various data points in.
I hear our
I think
superintendent
communicator, but
makes really good music.
it made me be fun at a football game at halftime. Just up on the big board, we're celebrating our teachers.
I hear
you
that,
know.
no, I hear
don't
that
know.
Roger will do a music video.
Yeah, there you go. It's just something, like you said, to get
We
the
got
news out,
that.
and there's a good way of doing it.
I think it is in
I
small
think
print.
Well, we have that.
That's part of the
report. We
contract.
could put together
Yeah.
almost like little PSA type celebration
Yeah.
pieces.
And I think,
Yeah.
beginning of the year kickoff to our breakfast, we can do
Yes.
some cool
That'd be
stuff.
cool, too.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
The other thing to think about, okay, this is math. Parents are concerned about the holistic curriculum, right?
Yep.
So combining the message with, the other R's, it would, I think, because then they're gonna go, well, what about that?
Yeah.
I've already answered the
Sure.
question.
Yep. Yeah, and we want to have it all together, no doubt.
So, on this, how much of this do you feel was a result of the extra funds or extra attention that we've been able to give these subjects with extra staff and extra assistance? And are we identifying programs, because we've been talking about the day's coming, right? Where we got to look at what's working, what's not working. Do we feel like we have a good handle on what did work that we want to figure out how we continue to fund or figure out a way to mimic?
It's a great question. So let me address that in parts. From my opinion, I think the extra funds were a catalyst. I think it helped us get there a little more quickly. But I think we were already on the track. So the reflex and the fracture, that's a program. We've said it for years, right? The best program, the worst program, our teachers were ready for it. The timing was right. East had picked that up before any of those funds were available. So we were already looking at that. Having those funds got us there maybe 6-8 months a little quicker, because it was there. We were able to fast track some things and get some things going. I think we would have gotten there eventually. That conversation is coming. So we adopted Envision's K-5. If you remember, we went through the big process, K-5 and a big long process, and they wanted this comprehensive curriculum that aligned common vocabulary, common experiences, common resources, and then COVID hit. And so right in the midst of our implementation, we kind of got our legs swept out by a big wave, and I think it helped during that time. But I think, again, the timing was right, because we still weren't where we wanted to be with Envisions, because we still have conversation this year coming out finally about common grade level assessments and those things. But this analysis still came out of the work that teachers did and were able to provide feedback about student performance. So interestingly, I'll tell you right now, next year, when we adopted Envisions, it was a 6-year agreement. Next year is year 6. So we're going to be meeting with a K-5 math team to talk about what does that look like, because the time is coming where we can't have everything. And what does it look like? What have we learned? What do we think will be our essentials to maintain this and move it forward?
Gotcha. All right. Something to keep in mind as we're looking at all these different
Absolutely.
different subjects. So
Yep.
good. All right.
So, thank you for listening. Great questions.
Yeah.
Did you want
Good
to
job.
just pathways
Thanks,
here?
Scott.
Celebration.
Did you want to
yeah,
talk
you
about
asked
this?
about pathways.
Yeah, but all I wanted was 2 minutes.
There you go.
You gave me 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, and you're welcome. Jenny Callender gave me all that.
Oh, okay.
Of course she did.
This she
She's
did.
the best.
In a matter of hours.
And we're-
So, but a great story talking about
Uh-huh.
pathways. When you take a look at graduation rate, the number of juniors and seniors that are graduating, and the things that our kids are going on to do
Yeah,
after that
and
opportunities.
Odyssey Ware
Yeah,
is working.
yeah,
This is the perfect example
they're finishing their classes.
that it's working.
Yeah.
In this situation, yes.
Also, you may have seen the Grand Rapids Business Journal, and I think MLive did something on it about Launch Michigan again, and how awful Michigan scores are compared to their peers around the country. And you may recall, I shared this document with you during my self-eval, and I just wanted to, again, shed light on that they blanket Michigan as everybody. And, you know, they even said, well, even some of the affluent districts are far below and so on. And I just want to remind you on that, because I get mad when somebody blankets something, I'm like, well, that's not us. Our district comparisons that we have in math, we're right exactly same percentage as our similar districts around the country. Reading, we're 6% ahead of the similar districts around the country. Our graduation rate ours is 96, and the average of similar districts around the country, similar to us, is a 92.5. So we're not one of those districts. We are doing as well in of the three factors they have, 2 of the 3 we're doing much better than our
The
comparison
country, right?
districts.
Oh,
Around the
comparison
country.
districts.
This is around the
Country.
country.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, again, bring that to light, because I know it's very easy when you see that Michigan overall is, 50th out of 50, and they start saying, well, everybody's worse than their peers. It's not everybody. We're not.
Good to know.
Thank you.
Go Grandville.
All right, any other discussions or report? No public comment, so the next board meeting of the Grandville Board of Education will be Monday, July 15th. Obviously, we have the holiday week off, so enjoy the 4th of July holiday week. Next meeting will be July 15th at 7 p.m. at the Administration Building. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.